All right, everyone, welcome back to another video. This is the first one we've got with Onesball 002 coming up September the 21st at 6 p.m. in Silver Lake at the park. We are raising money for Mindful Schools, but more on that later. Today, we have with us the owner of Stay on Target Fitness, based right here in West Harrison. He's a proud sponsor of our event, helping us put this thing on. His name is
Great.
Rhyrus Falcone. How are you doing today, Rhyrus?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jared. Great to see you. And absolutely, I'm excited about the upcoming ones ball. It should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. We're just about finalizing the bracket. My phone is buzzing right now with kids texting me that they submitted their applications and stuff. So I can't wait to announce the rest of these matchups and special announcement on my placement in the tournament soon. So we'll see about that.
Cool.
Looking
Sounds good.
forward to court coming back. But yeah, no, this interview is about you. So first off, Stay on Target Fitness. I know we met in person. You
Yes.
talked a little bit about it. You said you started it around the time of COVID, correct? And yeah,
Yeah, I started this business in early 2020, shortly after the lockdown, actually, which was uh, you know, wasn't the original plan, but that's what happens, right? Life happens and we have to roll with it and just kind of roll with things and pivot. So that's what I did. And so mostly in the beginning I was doing all online. Um, or actually, in the summer, I started meeting with people in parks and stuff if they wanted to meet in person to train. But yeah, it's been a great experience. I mostly work with people age 50 plus who have either low back or knee issues and or sometimes because those are some of the my specialties. I can work with anyone, but that's kind of my specialty. And getting people back into fitness, I focus mostly on functional fitness, which people are like, what does that mean? It's basically getting your body to move better, more efficiently, with less pain, and definitely better control. So, we deal with any, core strength, um, proper balance, proper gait. Those are big things, work on not falling and things of that issue. So really those are kind of the bigger things we work on. And especially since I'm working with an older community, it's, sometimes getting somebody back into exercise who hasn't done it in 20 or 30 years, right? Because they've been focused on their career and now they're realizing, uh-oh, I got to focus on my health, right? As they're kids get older and moving off to college or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of that going on, or they may even be even older here, like realizing, hey, I want to stay independent as long as possible, and one of the ways to do that is through fitness.
right. Yeah, no, it's so interesting because, um, you know, I've actually been watching the series on YouTube. Um, of these trainers, right? And so they've been fit and in good, healthy shape their whole life. Um, and they're meeting with these, clients who are completely immobile and who are severely overweight, almost diabetic, and they never knew what it was like to be them. So in this series, these trainers actually took 4 months and gained like 40 to 50 pounds. And then they re-met with their clients who were, like in the 300s, like,
Mm-hmm.
and they lost the weight together. And it was so interesting because you could see like the changes in mindset
Mm-hmm.
between both parties. Like as the, you know, uh, their client is losing weight, their mental state is, and they're being active is completely enhanced. But throughout the initial journey of the trainers gaining this weight and not working out, their mindset is completely, off and unhinged, and they're going into, depressive states. And I wanted to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
that our event is centered around mental health, and we're raising for Mindful Schools, which
Right.
is an organization that has programs for teachers to use that teaches them how to implement mindfulness into their classrooms. Um, so that we can get these kids started with these practices at an early age. How do you see it, even in your clients at a little bit of an older age? How does fitness and becoming mobile and, ultimately just feeling good in the body, how does that translate to the mind? And how do you see the progression of your clients through that?
Oh my goodness, it happens with all of them, every last one of them. And the first thing I notice is they start asking me questions about other things they can do, right? they see the change in themselves at least a little bit, like things are getting better, and then they start looking for other ways to like improve their life. And it could be,
Right.
you know, like maybe it's an eating thing, or maybe it's like, hey, do you know anything about, this particular medication or this particular supplement? They start asking me more and more questions about ways to improve. And one of my favorite examples is, I have a client who has fibromyalgia, and normally like they can't exercise. They feel like they can't exercise, right? Because they have fibromyalgia, because they have pain throughout their body, right? And these flare-ups. And with functional fitness, it's not about lifting heavy weights. It's really just about getting you back into daily life. And as this client went from like basically sitting on the couch watching TV all the time, right? Binge watching TV, like a lot of us did during COVID, like lockdown, right? Um, you know, she really like just carrying the groceries from the car to her house, which is not that far because she has the driveways right up almost to the front door. It's like was painful for her. You know, now she doesn't even think about it. Like, you know what I mean? And she's like done things like, finishing up a degree that she had put on hold. Just like all these things that she like couldn't think she could do and kept putting off. She's making all these positive progressions in her life and moving forward, and she's even dating again. And it's like all these things that like she was just like, or
That's
she'll
a
meet a friend. Yeah, it's great. She'll meet a friend, and if they can't get a parking spot close by, she's like, "It's okay. We'll walk to the cafe." And it's like, where before it was like, "Oh, can you drop me off?" Like, you know what I mean? And now it's like, so she's just feels more active. She feels more connected. She like everything is moving forward for her, and it's just one of my favorite things to see.
Yeah, it's so important. That's part of the reason I really wanted to work with you, besides, your vibrant energy and your passion for what you
Thank
do.
you.
Yeah. No, it's has such a correlation. It's amazing that, like, even like the smallest things, like going on walks, just doing a little stretch, how that contributes to your state and your overall motivation is just amazing. And it would be awesome to have those two things correlate.
Hmm.
Some of these teachers we can get involved, hopefully some of them are coaches, gym teachers that can bring it in a physical sense as well.
I'm
Last
sure.
year, as a junior, that's the most stressful year, and class we had a unit, a mindfulness unit, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed, but it was only like a week long. I was like, why can't we do this every week?
Exactly.
It worked around the time of midterms, but like, I wish that would be so much more normalized. And people kind of took it as a joke, but it really, if you pay attention to the stuff they're saying, it's just as, if not more important than the physical aspect, and they really work together symbiotically. And
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even when I have a cold, right, and I just have to stay on the couch because I can't, because I'm sick, right, or whatever. If it's bad enough that I can't even do like a simple walk, it's like, it's easy to get into like thinking about all the negative things in my life when I have so many good things going on in my life. Like, I think all of us have had like bouts of like situational depression or like extreme anxiety, like studying for a test or, performing on some level, whether it's on the basketball court or if you're a musician, before a performance or actor, whoever, right? We all have those things. And one of the things that helps us manage that is having self-confidence, and also just our our biological chemicals. And there's been so much research done for many years, and you can find research listed like at National Institutes of Health, the Mayo Clinic. I was actually on one of my blogs, I list a few places that I've looked at, and even like the Australian government has put in stuff. There's so much research into, especially around depression and anxiety, how physical exercise can really help us manage those things.
yeah,
And because some of it's just purely biological, right? It helps our serotonin levels, which makes us feel good, right? It helps reduce the stress hormones, which is the things that gets us like anxious and, can help the spiral. It's not going to fix somebody who has, clinical depression, but it can help improve people's lives that have, clinical depression. They may still need to be on medications as well, but there's been so much research done, and it's such a huge thing. And, you know, and it doesn't have to be that crazy hard workout like you see on TV, right? Like it can be very simple. I mean, also it depends on where you're starting and where you need to go. But even just maintaining, And if you're doing it with socially, like let's say you're doing it with a trainer or you're doing it with like a gym class or one of those classes at the, you know, Planet Fitness or wherever, whoever has gym classes these days. I don't even know who's doing class work, but there's a lot of them. And or yoga, the interaction and socialization is just huge, and that is huge too, right? Especially as people get older. Like, I mean, yeah, for you it's like you're around people all day long, but you know, some people are like, you know, they live by themselves or just them and their spouse, you know, and they don't get out as much, and so for them it's also just a socialization thing, and that's helpful to help reduce depression and all that kind of stuff, which is one of the reasons why we had really bad cases during, you know, lockdown, because people were they couldn't get out and see all the have that socialization aspect.
And I definitely commend you for having that sort of mindset, because you realize that it's not all about appearance or working out, you know, for that aspect at all. It's about feeling good and being confident in yourself so that you can go out and succeed in everyday life, and have that motivation that you should have, you know, that whether it's biologically or due to circumstances because of you know, something like COVID, you
Right.
should be able to have that confidence and that inner happiness. Yeah, so I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back a
Hmm.
bit about something else I'm interested
Sure.
about. That's kind of the entrepreneurial aspect of your little business here. So I want to like hear what's your background? How did um, you know, what were you doing first, and then
Hmm.
kind of like took you out of that and made you want to start stay on Target Fitness?
Well, thank you. It's a great question, and it's one of my favorite questions to answer. I could do 15, 20 minutes just on that, but I promise I won't. um, but I actually, career-wise, I was actually in the technology end of things for a long time, and because I had to stop sports according to my doctors when I was in my teens. Um, I was having some pain after some because I was in school sports and things of that nature, and I was having some pain, and the coach noticed I was dragging, and he's like, "You're going to the doctor." So off to the doctors I went, and they did some X-rays, and they looked at my knees, and they said no, you know. And I found out years later that that was the wrong thing to do, but at the time that was the going, that was the thought process. Nowadays we don't do that, right? Long story short, I had an injury that happened through just life, and I was recovering from that, and I ended up founding this really great physical therapy office who actually was able to help my pain, and a doctor who was really good at like at a hospital for special surgery, and you know, she was like, hey, you know, there's nothing physically wrong, I think we can move forward. It was some my upper arm and my upper body, and so I was like, hey, after that kind of got settled, I was like, you know what, let me recheck my knee stuff. And so after working with them, and they said, hey, you know, here's again sending me to that same physical therapy group, but I started to find that there's exercises I could do, and then working with them, and then actually I was working with a personal trainer for a while, and you know, finding the right personal trainer and the right professionals that and being able to do things that I was told I would never be able to do when I was in my teens, like a weighted squat, or you know, I wasn't doing like ridiculous amounts of weight, but just the fact that I was doing a weighted squat and I was told I would never be able to do that. Um, you know, I was able to like have pickup games with my friends on the weekend and do things, or go for long hikes, or do multiple activity things in a day, and got into some of maybe not the best shape of my life, but probably the best shape of my life since I was in my 20s, because it's amazing what your metabolism is when you're in your 20s. Uh, um, you know, in my, you know, late 40s, you know, and that was pretty amazing. And so I was like, you know what? I love to teach and I love this. And you know, I love exercise, I love sports. So I figured, you know what? I sat on the couch after work, and I sat in the car, and you know, I sat behind a desk, and I still sometimes sit behind a desk, and I was like, you know what, if I can learn how to do this and show somebody else who thinks they can't because of whatever, right, their knees, their back, or they're too old, we can do this again, and it is possible. And it isn't necessarily about, I mean, yes, it is nice to look nice, and yes, that makes me feel better, but I'm excited when I get my blood results back and my cholesterol went down. Like that's what gets me going now. But you know, this is what happens when you get past 50. Your goals get a little different.
Yeah,
But
no.
you know, yeah, but it's cool. But it is also nice to not look my age. I mean, people are always shocked and they're like, "You're 50." I'm like, "Yeah." So yeah. It's
Uh,
amazing though.
and that's the important part of career wise is doing what makes you smile, and you can
Right.
feel in every fiber of your body like that's the right thing. And for you it seems like teaching and making a difference in these people's lives by what you know, and um that's something that you really enjoy, and that's why you're able to successfully run with it. And it's so amazing.
Thank you. Thank
How,
you.
if you, before we wrap this up, like,
Hmm.
someone else was watching this, in the area, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, what's a few pieces of advice that you would give to them to, go out and do that thing that they wanted to do, that will make them happy?
The biggest, you can't do everything alone. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that, you know, I had to learn, right? Because I figured, oh, I'm a solo entrepreneur. I got to do everything myself. There's just so much that needs to be done. It's not possible. And learn from people who are further down the path than you. So, like, I made a lot more friends who are like fitness professionals than I ever had before, right? Some work for gyms, some have their own business, some are, work in like a nursing home or that kind of situation. So they're like a staff member. Um, but I have like all these friends and they're like all over the country. And, I got the help that I needed. I mean, you make great connections when I obviously had to go get some training, and I got certified and all that kind of stuff. So I made some friends there, but even like the continuing education and learning from other business owners, also making connections with the community, right? Like we made the connection, right? Like that kind of stuff is what you need to do because if you're not telling people and they don't know what's going on and you're not making those connections, then it's never going to happen. And also, you just never know. It's like, hey, I need help with this, and hey, I know so and so, and it's like, even though I may not become their personal trainer, but they know and trust me, and and I can make those connections too. So just being an open vessel, and it's not all about what I need. Sometimes it's about helping that other person get what they need and introducing them to the people that can help them. So that's what I would have to say. It takes a village, so to speak, literally, to
Great.
make things happen.
And yeah, no, that's, they say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And through my journey, I'm definitely starting to realize that, this sort of trajectory comes with a lot, on one's plate. And yeah, you're completely right. You can't do it alone.
No.
Yeah, no, with that said, anything, you got coming up, anything you want to sort of promote, tell the people where they can find you and how they can use you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, stay on target fitness. I also have a website, so you can always find me there. There's a lot of great information on my website. It's stayontargetfitness.com. I have a blog. There's forms you can fill out there. My phone number's there. So it's all pretty easy. And you can even from the website get to the Instagram or the Facebook if you're having a hard time finding me for some reason.
That's it. That's right. Yeah, if you guys know anyone that could use Stay on Target fitness services, definitely make sure to, contact me, contact Rhyrus, and we'll, he'll get you set up. And he's got a great thing going. And yeah, we want to thank him. We want to thank Stay on Target Fitness for helping us put this event on Thursday, September 21st, 6 p.m., Silver Lake Park. We just announced Jordan Lubowitz making his return against James Perlman, new Onesball participant. Tonight, by the time this is out, we'll have announced Ryan Goldenberg, the man with 500,000 followers on TikTok. You
Oh,
guys know, yeah, versus Jack Cohen. And then, yeah, like I said, my return to the court will be announced soon. And yeah, we got a few others. So yeah, stay tuned. Be there, be square. Thursday, September 23rd. Rhyrus, thank you so much again. And
thank you, Jared.
it's time. Peace out.